Hello, world. Welcome to the Shannon Joy Show. Welcome back, everyone, to the Shannon Joy Show. So thrilled to welcome once again into the Joy Virtual Studio our good friend, Dr. Chad. He is with Native Path. He's an expert in holistic healing. He is a wealth of information. And I always love having you on the show because, as you know, health is a major theme on the Shannon Joy Show. Medical freedom. My mission, and I'm sure the mission of my audience, is to stay out of the medical industrial complex. I call it chronic good health. Stay out of the doctor's office that comes with making lifestyle changes and make sure that you're getting enough sleep, enough sun, the right supplements. And that's really where this partnership with Native Path, which, by the way, Dr. Chad, I cannot tell you how thankful I am for Native Path. My entire family is on all of the products. We're all using them. I am using a variety of them now, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But time and time again, it is the cleanest, best quality, best price point products on the market, bar none. Nothing fancy. You guys just get it done right. And I really want to thank you for that, because I know you are a major driver in that quality control and making these products available to so many people. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. And thank you for saying all that. And, kind of what you're touching on is our philosophy, right? Like we recognize that there is a big medical complex, there's a big food complex, and humans are in the middle. And we've been getting a lot of bad information, and we're sort of stuck in this cycle of we've got a symptom, here's a pill, and then we keep getting sicker and sicker. And it's really these last 100 years, you can point to any metabolic disease. It's all gotten worse over the past 100 years, despite what we think is good, despite our races for the cure and all our advances in technology and medicine. So, our mission is really to help get humans back in alignment with our natural biology and really focusing on these basic principles of health, and then supplying people with the purest, most effective bioavailable supplements as close to nature as possible, right, to really help fill in the gaps so people can feel their best. So I'm glad I love hearing that you and your family and your friends are all taking Native Path products and getting great results. That's awesome.
Every day. In fact, I was mentioning to the audience last week that I just sent my college age student, my son, down to college, and he brought the creatine with him. He brought the hydrate. He loves the hydrate, and he's a beach volleyball player, so he gets lots of sun. We're going to talk about sun today, by the way. The sun, the energy giving life force on the planet, which has gotten a bad rap over the years, which is crazy, but we're going to bust some of those myths today. But he wants to get his whole beach volleyball team on the Native Path products, which I just think is awesome. So he brought down like a whole box full, and I'll be sending him more of that. But let's start. We're going to be talking about creatine a little bit later in the program, because it's not just for muscle heads. Okay, it's for the ladies too.
That's right.
So we'll talk about that. But I do want to talk about sun. There's a lot in the news. About a year ago, I featured a piece from Midwestern Doctor, and it was entitled "The Dermatological Attack on the Sun." Right, like there has been a lot of myth making, I think, on the sun in general and our relationship as human beings, our bodies, to the sun. Everyone's trying to block it. I mean, we even have, we report on this often in the Shannon Joy Show, blatant now. I mean, geoengineering. We have solar radiation management, which is a big initiative of Bill Gates. And so they're pumping chemicals into the sky to try to white out the sun, right, and shield us from the sun in order to reduce global warming, et cetera, right? And humans are getting, from all the propaganda, stay out of the sun, never go into the sun, to we don't get it even when we want it. It confuses people. I'd love to spend this first segment just talking about the sun with you and our relationship as humans with the sun and why we need to embrace it again, I think. But I'll give it over to you, because I think this is the first building block, a huge component of natural health, right? That sun and exposure.
Yeah. It's funny, like the more I learn about the sun and how important natural sun exposure is for vitamin D rather than just supplementing and going outside, the more I think it may be the one place where everyone should go because it's accessible to everybody, and
Right.
everyone, almost everybody, is not getting enough sun, right? So, and it's true. We have these beliefs. Like we're told from like TV shows and commercials, the sun will give you cancer, and if you go outside, by all means, like put on SPF 70 so you're okay. And we totally forget that that's a lot of chemicals. We're under heat, and the skin is the biggest absorber of things on our body, and that might have an impact on us, right? So
Right.
to me, our poor relationship with the sun is really reflective of our disconnection with nature and the things that make us healthy. So, there's an interesting study that came out, I think it's the past 5 years, but they were looking at people in the hospital, and they were comparing people who sat close to the window where the sunlight was coming in versus people who were sitting in rooms without sunlight. And what they found was that people who sit next to the window where there's natural sunlight, on average, by far, get discharged from the hospital much quicker than people who are
Wow.
not
No.
not in the sunlight, right? So that
Wow.
right there shows you, like, okay, it should be part of our healing process that we're looking at if we're looking to get better. But the sun, like, there's absolutely nothing that the sun doesn't benefit you from your bone health to your muscle strength to your immune system to your digestive system to your hormonal health to everything in there, right? And I talked earlier about the changes that have happened in the past 100 years, and our relationship with the sun has drastically changed. So our grandparents, our maybe our great great grandparents, they were outside like all day. They were in
Mhm.
the fields farming. They were breathing natural air. They were probably only inside of the day, maybe 10% of the time. And
Wow.
now in our modern world, we've completely reversed that. Like we only get maybe 5 to 10% of our time outside if we're lucky, right? So when the sun's up at the most, we're inside under artificial fluorescent lights.
Mm.
And these artificial fluorescent lights really confuse our bodies, right? And then we go home, we watch TV, and we have this huge bright screen, and it's sending these signals to our body. Even though it's 9 p.m. at night and the sun is down, it's sending these signals that the sun is still up,
Oh,
right? So we get
wow.
very confused. So a lot of people go to bed and they're watching that bright light, and they have these fluorescent lights in their kitchen, and the body is completely confused. And when they want to go to bed and they want to get rested, they can't because
Mm.
their hormones are out of whack. And that's the big thing that the sun does, is it keeps our hormones in the sort of rhythm that it best operates at. And we have cortisol, which is our daytime hormone, and we have melatonin, which is our nighttime hormone. And ideally, these are kind of inverse throughout the day. When you wake up, that cortisol should spike right up. You should have a lot of energy to go seize the day and do the things and hunt and gather and do all that. And then it should taper off as the day goes on. And as soon as the sun goes down, that melatonin production internally should start producing, and that should help you feel rested and relaxed in order to have rejuvenation and heal and wake up the next day and do it again, right? But most people, if you look at cortisol rhythms, you can test this with your blood and saliva. Most people are exact opposite because of the way we're relating to the sun, right? So most people, when they wake up, their cortisol is like flat throughout the day
Mm.
and they have no energy. So what they do is they artificially give themselves energy with coffee or energy drinks or something like that. And then it stays low. And then right when they when they want to go to bed, it spikes up, right? It
Wild.
just and it completely
Wow.
reverses it, right?
Yeah.
So main point is our hormones really get thrown out of whack when we don't start aligning ourselves with the sun. And you and I touched on this briefly, but it's like where do we start? What do we do, right? So one of the best things you can do when you wake up and as you rise up, before you even have your morning coffee, is to start going outside or maybe sit on your front porch and look at natural sunlight, even the sky, as the sun's coming up. And that's going to send signals inside of your body to start producing your daytime hormones at the right time, which then in turn helps you sleep the following night. And you do that over and over, and that helps you feel your best. It's one of the most simple things you can do. And there's also a lot of people who, gosh, they have never allowed their skin to see natural sunlight.
It's crazy.
They've been blocking it with this sun protection. They're completely pale and white. And I'm like, those people need to progress themselves a lot easier. You want to work up to at least 15 minutes of sun exposure.
Mm.
Even better if it's during the day, like 12, 11 o'clock, if you can get that. But it takes time to build up. But allowing that to come in is what I would call like a needle mover, right?
Mm.
Everything else in your health starts getting better when you start doing that. And again, you can supplement vitamin D all you want, and it's great. I still
Yeah.
recommend supplement with vitamin D, but it does nothing compared to the impact and the absorption that you get from the natural sunlight, the blue light, the UV rays, the red
Mhm.
light, all of that coming from the natural sun is one of the best things we can do, and it's accessible for everybody, right? So sunlight is a good way to, as we say, get back on the path and start aligning your body, your biology with what it's intended for, doing what your genes are expecting of. It's only in that past 100 years that we've completely flipped the script on the sun, and it's a big part of why we're having such big chronic diseases in the modern world.
Yeah, there's a lot out there in terms of the studies, and I would recommend people take a look at that. It's a long piece, Midwestern Doctor. It's about, I want to say it's 20 pages long, but lots of, I mean, studies. I mean, it is a very well sourced kind of overview of the history. I mean, we've only been doing this whole sunscreen thing for about 100 years or less. Sunglasses, the same thing. I mean, no one wore
Yes.
sunglasses back in the day. And, you know, it's interesting that, as I mentioned, I am a big fan of the sun. I don't wear sunscreen ever, except on my face, but I only use zinc. So I don't use anything with any of the chemicals, and because I'll burn a little bit on the face. But with my youngest son, my first two kids, I did a little bit of sunscreen because just everyone told you to, right? My
Hmm.
last son, Teddy, I like to say the third kid raises themselves. Like I don't know. He's like feral.
Yeah.
We never know where he is. We never, you know. And so I was busy and I just never put sunscreen on the kid ever, never,
Hmm.
not even a little bit. He'd be in the sun all day long. And I can tell you that child, he's 13 now, he has never burned in his life.
Yeah.
Never. He's never burned. I'm like, he gets like kind of a nice color, but he does not get burns. And he's a beach volleyball player too. So he can be in the sun all day. Now, I'm not recommending this to everyone because people have pale skin. I'm very Mediterranean. Like each
Yeah.
person is different in the amount of sun that they can take. But I will say, I attribute all happiness in my life to, you know,
Hmm.
directly related to the amount of sun. And my kids even have mentioned before, they think that they're so happy because they're beach volleyball players because they spend so much time in the sun. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I love what you said about sunscreen being kind of like he's never used sunscreen and he's never been burned. In my
Right.
experience, when I was growing up, I would use sunscreen all the time because that's what I was told, and I would get burned all the time. And in the past like 20 years, I've never used sunscreen,
Yeah.
and I've built up my tolerance for the sun. But after this, I will go outside. I'm in Texas. It's 12 o'clock noon.
Yeah.
The sun is right above us. I will walk for an hour with my shirt off, and I
Right.
will not get burned at all one bit, right? And the other thing you talked about with the sunglasses is an important thing too, because that confuses the eyes, which then confuses the entire nervous system and tells the body the sun is down. So like it's not going into really an absorption mode where it's going to have a good relationship with the sun. So we're going to go in the sun, wean into it. Don't just go out there for an hour if you've never done
Right.
it before. But it is important, and it's better to do it without sunscreen, and it's better to do it without sunglasses, and see
Mhm.
how that goes and see how you feel. But work into it at a good progression.
It's interesting. My older son trained himself because he didn't want to bother with sunglasses while he was playing, so he stopped wearing sunglasses. And now he can play all day beach
Uh huh.
volleyball without even wearing sunglasses because his eyes are trained now, and so he doesn't, you know. So it's just interesting. It's just such an interesting dynamic. What about the end of the night? Because do you have a recommendation for everyone in terms of the electronics and the screens and like that artificial light that is coming in? I mean, should we just turn everything off at like 6 o'clock or seven, or how would you recommend people
Yeah.
eased into starting that natural production of melatonin? By the way, native path has all of these things that you guys need.
Yeah.
But what would you say about the nighttime routine?
So the nighttime routine, it is better to not have screens like at least an hour or 2 hours before you go to bed if you can do that. But if you are going to have a screen on, if you're going to watch TV once the sun has come down, it's a good idea to use nighttime glasses, like
Okay.
the blue light blocking glasses. So I've used Swannies for a long time. Those are really
Okay.
nice. You can get on Amazon for I think SWANNIES. But that's a great way that you can block all the light coming in that's interfering with your brain and confusing it that the sun is still up. It won't do that. Basically, it
Okay.
keeps you from doing that and allows you to have a good night's sleep. And I notice a huge difference with that. Like if
Okay.
my wife's wanting to watch a show and I don't have those glasses, I'm like, okay, I'll watch it. It is just night and day in terms of how fast I fall asleep and the quality of my sleep when I do sleep and how I feel when I wake
Okay.
up.
Okay. I have a question from the live chat, Strident Conservative. Hey, David Leach, great to see you. There was someone on Bill Maher this past week that said we should actually look at the sun every morning for
Mhm.
better health. And he asks, is that right? And yeah, that's what you were just saying. That's probably the best way to get started, right? Is that morning sun?
Yeah. Yeah, again, that's another one that we have to progress into. A
Mhm.
lot of people's eyes, because we've been wearing sunglasses, it can be really harmful. But people, and I've built up to this myself, where you keep looking at it for 10, 20 minutes in the morning. When the sun is, especially if you have like a balcony and you're high up and you can really see a low sun, and
Oh,
you can
yeah.
watch that as it comes up, it does incredible things for boosting
Wow.
all of the hormones I was talking about, like boosting cortisol, but also like the hormones that the things that make you happy, the
Yeah.
neurotransmitters,
Yeah.
serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin. That they found that sun exposure now is it has impacts on improving symptoms of Alzheimer's, right? So there's things that start waking up in the brain and start connecting once we get that sun exposure. So looking at it is good, but that's kind of like next level. Let's progress our way into that, you
Sure.
know. But it's a good question, and something I recommend, even like if you want to do pulses, like just look away, look away, and just wean
Okay.
yourself into it. The dose is important.
Okay, Diog99 has a question. How much exposure is too much for the sun? Personally, I figure my body will tell me if I'm getting a little pink or a burn, that's my signal. But what would you say in terms of too much sun? Is
I
there
would say
such
that's the same thing,
Magda?
right?
Yeah, right, right.
Right, because it's going to be different for everybody. Like I mentioned, I can go out in the sun for an hour, and I know I'm good with that because I built up to that over years and years. But someone else, just getting started, it may be like 2 minutes, of full skin sun exposure. There may be parts of their skin that has never even seen the sun at all,
Mhm.
right? There's a
Crazy.
lot of like that's
Yeah.
going on. So we've got to wean into that very gently and then repeat it over and over. That's the important thing is like you don't want to never see the sun and then go out to the beach on the weekend for 3 hours and then get burnt and be like, "See, I told you so." Like I'm burnt. It's not good. No, you got to wean into it. And if you're going
Yeah.
to be in a situation where you are at the beach for 3 hours, then it's a good time to cover yourself up. Like put towels over your legs. Like wear long sleeve shirts, wear a hat that covers yourself, and
Right.
then occasionally throughout the day, take that off and then get some sun exposure. But
Yeah.
then go back. Right? It's the main rule is like you said. If you're getting burned, if you're getting hot, if you're getting pink, if it's getting itchy or anything like that, then that's too much.
Okay. All right. Mama C 1996 had this to say, I think my vision has improved from getting rid of sunglasses. Have you ever
Isn't that
heard
great?
that? That's amazing.
Oh, I hear that all the time. And I mean, this is
Yeah.
another one of my theories about why we have such bad eyesight in our culture is that we're not exposing our eyes to natural sunlight enough, but also we're not looking far enough. In other words, like
Oh,
we're
okay.
staying in close quarters inside of an office or inside of a house where the furthest we're looking, like if I look I'm looking at 10 feet away. And that may be the
Mm,
farthest thing I look at all day if I stay inside all the time. But if I
right.
go outside and if I look at a hill really far away and I really focus on it, my eye muscles they're starting to work really, really hard in order to focus on that. And it's just like going to
Really?
the gym where
Yeah.
you put resistance on your muscles, right? It's the same thing for your eyes. It's one of the best things we can do is go outside during the day and start looking far, far away and just really focus on it. And you'll notice kind of a strain, but it's like
Ye
it's muscles in your eyes working, right?
Wow.
So yeah. I mean, the same thing when you put on the sunglasses, you're putting something in half inch in front of your eyes. So it's very confusing to the eyes and it's blocking
Okay.
that natural sunlight. So all of this kind of speaks to adaptability. Our
Mhm.
eyes, our body, all of it adapts according to the environment we put ourselves in. And generally the answers are go back to like the way humans have been doing it for a long, long, long time because we're still
Right.
here and those are proven principles that were good then and they'll be good hundreds of years from now.
Yeah. This is why I love talking to you because it really these are kind of foundational principles. It makes a lot of common
Yeah.
sense to
Right.
me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And go ahead.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's right. It is common sense. It's just like forgotten information,
Right.
and a lot of wrong information that's, as we say, gotten us off the path.
Right, right. Well, and right now you guys see the link under savewithnativepath.com/joy, savewithnativepath.com/joy. I'd love to keep that one for just my show and just put all my stuff up there. But right
There
now
we go.
there's a 54% off deal for creatine, which is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And I want to start this conversation with you because indeed, I mean, there's a big, big debate right now about menopause and the use of hormone replacement therapy. Our dear friend, Dr. Naomi Wolf, recently had Kelly Victory on
Mm.
her show, and they had a little discussion about HRT, hormone replacement therapy, or to not HRT. And this is for women who are menopausal. And I can tell you all, by the way, I'm menopausal. Okay. So it's official. I'm not even 50 yet. I'm 48 years old. Started last February, Dr. Chad. I thought I was pregnant. I literally thought I was pregnant.
Yeah.
I'm like, why am I, and now it's been, I don't know if this is too much information for the audience, but so I have been grappling with this. Creatine is one of those things I had never thought about when it comes to helping with the hormones. Okay, the ups and the downs and the hot flashes and that type of thing. We only have about 5 minutes left in the show, 6 minutes, but maybe we can get started on a conversation about menopause and women and aging and the hormones, and talk a little bit about how creatine, collagen helps too. The native path collagen has been a lifesaver. But what are your thoughts on these debates and how we have changed the way we think about women very naturally moving into a period of time in their life where they don't have children anymore? I
Right.
think sometimes we overthink it. What are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are like, what is the natural thing to do, right? Like, and we sometimes intervene, and we don't ask ourselves why is this a little more painful or not as smooth as it should go? And generally, that's our diet and lifestyle and things like that.
Right.
Um, but regarding creatine, I grew up as a college athlete, and I wanted to be bigger and stronger and faster, and that's when I first started taking creatine, right? And it was great. I was like, this is amazing. And me and my gym bros and CrossFit guys, we were all doing it, and like, this is wonderful. But it turns out like it is creatine is not just for gym bros. It's not just for men. It's also incredibly beneficial for women. And not only that, it's incredibly beneficial for women as they age. And it really helps with a lot of the challenges that women face when they age. And somehow this naturally became like the big demographic that we're working with Native Path, right? And that's why we came out with collagen for a lot of the things it can do for a woman as she ages. But creatine is right there with it. And I would say it's a miracle supplement in many ways. It's one of the best things you can do for your strength. And basically that's what creatine does. It puts energy into your muscles. And you mentioned the hormone issues that women face when they get older, whether it's perimenopause or menopause itself. There's these huge fluctuations in what's going on with the hormones. And what it does, what the studies are showing, is it helps to stabilize those fluctuations. It stabilizes the cellular energy production. So there is less volatility going on around the periods of perimenopause and menopause. And the studies that have been done on creatine with women, it shows they report better sleep, steadier moods, more sustained energy. So it's really good signs that good things are happening with the body. Probably men and women too, once they start supplementing with creatine on a regular basis.
What would you say would a regular basis be? Would you take it along? Would I take it along with collagen, or would I alternate them, or how? Because
Yeah,
there's
that's
so
a good
many good
question.
things. I never know, like, where should I place this and how long should I be on it? And what would your recommendation be for that? Because I'm
That's
going to
a
try
great
it.
question. So first thing, it is a daily supplement. It is
Okay.
best taken daily. It is not
Okay.
something that you want to cycle on or cycle off.
Okay.
It's not something that a lot of people, there's some myths around it. A lot of people think you need to have like this big loading phase where you take 20 grams for like 5 to 7 weeks. That's not necessarily the case at all.
Okay.
A lot of those studies were done way back in the 90s on gym bros, and they were trying to cram as much information as they could. But really, it's an everyday thing, and it goes extremely well in your morning coffee. You can put it in there with creatine.
Great.
I love mixing it with the hydrate, and I typically put 1 scoop of hydrate and 1 scoop of creatine in there
Okay.
during the workout, and then I'll have another one after the workout. So I generally take about 10 to 15 grams a day, and that's a good recommendation for most people.
Okay.
5 grams is going to be beneficial for your muscles, and we know that muscles are really important for our function as we age.
Yeah.
Anything above that, it then goes to the benefits of the brain, your cognition, your memory. There's incredible science coming out that creatine is beneficial for depressive type symptoms. It's
Mm.
beneficial for Alzheimer's type symptoms. My dad, he recently went through 20 rounds of radiation because he has prostate cancer. And I
Yeah.
can tell like his brain is not the same. Like he's
Yeah.
getting, he kind of stops, right? So the first thing I'm having him do is up his creatine dosage to 15, 20 grams a day. And that's really the signs that like, that's
Okay.
where the science shows it really improves the cognition and the memory. And he's already getting good results from that. It
Okay.
happens pretty quickly. Like I said, it's not something that like you need to take 30 grams and get the results. It can happen pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's exciting. And then we have creatine on special right now. So savewithnativepath.com/joy. They're doing 56. They always show up. That's the other thing I love about Native Path. For this audience, you guys show up with the best prices and the best packaging. 56% off right now if you want to try the creatine, add it to your hydrate every day. That's what my son does, by the way. He
Wonderful.
uses the hydrate plus the creatine every day, and I'm going to start trying that as well. You're all making fun of me about my hot flashes. Okay, it's true. We can talk about this one. I want to talk about. There's so much more to talk about though with menopause. I'd love to have you on again
Yeah.
sooner rather than later to do another 20, 30 minutes on that, because I have a lot to say about it. A
Okay.
lot
Yeah,
to say
let's do
about
it.
it. And I had a
Great.
long conversation with Naomi because they were trying,
Oh,
like,
wonderful.
the first thing everyone's trying to get me to go on hormone replacement therapy. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm like,
Yeah.
I've got a nice little homeostasis here, right? Like I've
Right.
got a couple hot flashes, but this is not too bad. Like I don't want to go messing everything up so we had a long conversation about it, and I love what she had to say. So I think that I hopefully we can get you on. I know you're so busy, but I'd love to
It's
have
all
you
good.
on.
Yeah, no, I'd love to talk about that. You know, I
Okay.
mean, finishing up on creatine,
Yeah.
one thing that all the people ask me is like, is it safe? Right? Because
Oh,
there's a myth in the background. Like, is it? I heard it's harmful for my kidneys. I heard it's harmful for my liver. I heard it's only for men. You know, things like
yeah.
that. And it's important to know that creatine is extremely safe. Right?
Okay.
We would not do it if it wasn't. It is one of the most well researched supplements over the past 20 years. And there has
Okay.
been long, lengthy studies of people who have been taking creatine every day for 5 years, and it's
Wow.
shown no harmful effects to the liver, to the kidney, to the heart. It's completely safe. So I just want everybody to feel good about that, because
Yeah.
it's something that like we came on creatine. My aunts and uncles are texting me like, "Is it safe? Are you sure?" I'm like, I
Okay, because
promise
you
you, it's
you
safe."
you begin to think of like those big muscly guys that are
Right.
on like steroids, like Alex
Right.
Jones.
Right.
That's what you think it's like it's just like these roid raging muscle
Right.
guys, and then you link that to creatine. I don't know how creatine got linked to that,
Right.
but it somehow did. So I'm glad that you said that. I'm glad that
Yeah.
you mentioned that. And we'll like listen as we move forward, and I'm going to start doing the creatine as well. I'll let you guys know how I feel. But when we'll have you on again to talk about that. But that's great information. We're long, of course. It's 1:34. Got to wrap up the show. But anything else you want to let the audience know where they can go, and any kind of takeaway from our session today?
Well, try the creatine.
Yeah.
I recommend everybody try it for like at least 8 weeks. I would say give yourself a good test. And the other thing is start going in the sun, like we talked about earlier. Like these are little things that have a huge impact to your health and your well-being. And once you start testing these things out and you notice the changes for yourself, then it's like you've done your own study.
That's
Like
awesome.
you already know. And then we just go on to the next thing and get in the gym and drink water. And that's what it's all about, right? We just have to
Yeah.
keep going. So
Okay, you're the best. Love Native Path. Love that company. I really do. You're awesome. I'd like to get you in this month again, maybe in the next 3 weeks or so, and we'll continue these
great.
conversations. But as always, we're so thankful for you and for Native Path. Savewithnativepath.com/joy right now for the 56% off the creatine. These are usually limited time, so make sure you get it today. Dr. Chad, thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Shannon. I love
All
being
right.
here.
Absolutely. You guys are great. Thank you. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow right here on the Shannon Joy Show.